Today, everybody's favorite day, arms day. We're gonna hit the biceps and the triceps, and we're gonna start this off with some barbell curls. It's a great strength building exercise. Any exercise that you do with the barbell, generally speaking, is going to be a little bit heavier. Doesn't always have to be, but that's my preference. If you're gonna use a barbell, that means you're gonna go heavy. If you want to go lighter on these, use like an easy bar, or you can use a band, or you can use dumbbells. Your preference, but we're going 6 to 8 reps here, so I would recommend a barbell and a little bit heavier than you used to. Two things I want you to keep in mind is the hands, right? Your hands aren't going to be narrowed in like they would on a easy bar or in a neutral grip, right? The hands are going to be so that your wrists are straight up, all right? Your hands and your palms facing up. So when you take your grip, you want it to be the most natural position that you can get your arms into. So for that, just lay your arms down and then turn your hands out. And wherever your hands go, that's going to be where you take your grip. For some people like me, it's going to be a little bit wider. It could be a little bit more narrow. But what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're not tucked back and you're not reaching forward. You want to make sure that your arms are neutral, right, alongside of your body. So as you're curling, the arms are alongside your body. You don't necessarily need to squeeze the arms in, but you don't want them flaring out. So that position that you put your hands in is going to help you bring your arms in a little bit so that you get that neutral against your body position. So my hands are in this position here, and I go down and I grab the bar, and now I'm going to curl it up. And notice that I'm not dropping it, but I'm got a full controlled extension all the way down to the bottom. The bar comes all the way back so that my arms are fully extended, all the way up to get a squeeze up into the shoulder and back down. I'm not just kind of doing that. That's a half rep, not a full rep. Use the barbell, get a full rep. All the way up, making sure that it's nice and controlled, all the way and up and all the way down. And then you can add a little bit of a cheat if you need to by coming up onto your toes. So curl and get that extension. Gives you a little bit of an extra boost when your arms are starting to get tired. All right, that is our barbell curl. We're going to kick it off next with tricep dips. All right, we're going to do some dips. Tricep dips, chest dips. If you're a bodybuilder, you're going to want to focus on the difference. Otherwise, a dip is a dip, right? The only way that you're really more focusing on the triceps versus the, basically all of the push muscles is if you're doing a bench dip where your hands are behind you and you're pushing off a bench like that. That's very much going to be tricep focus. But here we're doing a parallel bar dip, standard dip. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a dip. All right, so what you want to do is make sure that your grip isn't too narrow, isn't too wide. You want to find it so that you're nice and stable throughout your entire body. I've found that the wider out I go, the more strain it puts on the labrums in my shoulders, and that takes away my strength. If I can bring it more in to where more of a neutral grip, that allows me to then get more of my delts involved, more of the lower chest involved, the traps involved. It's a great way to just build a lot of big strength in the upper body. So when you're doing this, now I'm going to put my feet up on the bar, but that's just for talking purposes. I'm going to make sure that as I get up here, I'm strong, right? I'm not allowing myself to shrug it up. I want to make sure that I'm strong through my upper back. All right, so that when I'm dipping down, I'm using those traps a little bit more. Okay, so as I'm dipping down, I'm making sure that my shoulders and my triceps are going backwards, not out to the side, and I'm not shrugging. I'm dipping down, so I'm tipped a little bit forward. I'm dipping down. I should feel all of that stability and everything through the upper body and pressing up. Nice, slow, controlled on the way down. And try and give it a little bit of an extra boost on the way up. So it's a push. Use your chest, use your shoulders, use your back. All of that should be in control. Think of it more of like an upright push-up. That's a great way to describe it, because just like a push-up, you're using your back to control yourself down, using your triceps and your shoulders to push yourself up. Obviously, a push-up's more chest-focused, whereas a tricep is going to be very much, or excuse me, a dip is going to be very much tricep-focused. So depending on the strength of your triceps, you may not be able to do a lot of these right now. But as you use your whole upper body and it gets stronger and more mobile, you'll find yourself being able to lift more. All right, back to the biceps for the next exercise. Okay, now we're going to be doing spider curls. There's a lot of different ways to do spider curls. The most conventional way is like doing it on an incline bench, leaning forward and doing it this way, right? I don't like doing that way. It makes it difficult to get into that position because the seat's on the incline. Unless you have a rack available to you to grab the bar off of, it makes it a little bit more challenging to get the weight in position. You may not be able to go as heavy because it's awkward to get into that position. So for the sake of safety, we're going to do it this way, where we're bending over, but we're seated. So we have the easy bar, which I prefer because I like going in on a narrow grip here. You can do it on a neutral grip if you want to, but because we're going to be going in between the knees and in this position here, all right, we're going to get a little back stability as we're doing it. Whereas if I'm doing it on the incline, the arms are the only thing that's moving. I like making sure that other body parts are getting involved, so I'm going to do this with this bent over, but I want to maintain good posture, so I got to set my back in a good position by rolling the shoulder blades down. All right, and now my upper back is nice and supported. So when I do these curls, I'm not all the way bent over. I'm in this neutral type of position, half bend position, whatever you want to call it, but my shoulders are back and I'm nice and stable, trying not to put my elbows against my knees, and then we're going to curl that way. No problem if you do put your elbows against your knees. I mean, it does give you a little extra leverage, but you want to make sure that your arms are free. Again, this will get into the isolation, but doing this move right here, like I can feel this strengthening and stabilizing my shoulder blades and my upper back. Don't let your head dip down. Keep it as neutral as you can. And we're going from here. And one of the things that I like about doing it this way is I can superset these exercises, right? I can now go from the spider curl, just a switch of the grip, and I can go back into my skull crushers. All right, skull crushers, which we've done many, many times before. Reaching up, shoulder blades are connected to the bench, and I'm bending down and just bringing the bar just before it touches my skull, because I don't actually want to crush my skull, but I'm making sure that I get a full extension. All right, nice big stretch to the arm and reaching up. Making sure that it's a controlled movement. I'm pressing through the back of the arm. Not a lot of wrist movement. Not a lot of shoulder movement. The back is staying stable. Should be able to feel a little bit more since we just did all of those exercises. That spider curl. So there you go. Don't have to do them superset wise. I think it's a great way to just transition into them. It's a time saver, plus to get your arms a little bit of an extra burn there. That's your spider curl and your skull crusher. If you want, you can incline the bench for the skull crusher. And what that does is it gives you a little bit of a shorter reach. So it gives you a little bit more of a pump in the shoulders. Or excuse me, in the triceps. That's totally up to you. Whatever you feel more comfortable with. But it's a great superset to try. All right. On to the next set. All right, we're going to do our last bicep exercise. This is a Zottman curl. This is a great bicep exercise to build up stability, strength, and some mobility in your forearms, the elbow joint and the wrists. All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to do what we call a supinating curl. All right, starting with your hands facing your your legs. So palms facing the legs. As you curl up, you're rotating the wrists so the palms are now facing your shoulders. As we return down, you turn so the palms are facing the opposite direction, and you lower the weight back down. Rotating up, rotate, and lower it back down. And don't just drop it back down, slowly lower it. To really get into it deep, I recommend doing like a 5 count, right? So curl it up, normal speed, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Curl it up, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now with this exercise, what you want to keep in mind is that you are able to do as much weight as your forearms allow. So if you're dropping the weight and you're flopping your arm down, the weight's too heavy. If there's any pain in any point of the rotation of the arm, especially as you're lowering it, you're going too heavy. Go as light as you need to. I recommend starting off really light. Like for example, I'm using 10 pounds right now. It feels pretty good. So for the next set, yeah, I'll probably go up a little bit. But I want to make sure that I'm not overdoing it. I don't want any injuries to the forearm, especially if you're not used to doing this exercise, because we don't want to add any injuries, but it's a nice way to get a good flow. As you can see, I'm kind of flowing right now with that dumbbell. All right, give this exercise a try. Avoid pain. Go for quality movement, not how much you can lift. This is a far from an ego lift type of situation, but you should notice it in those forearms. All right, we got one more tricep exercise to go. For the last tricep exercises, we're doing cable pushdowns. What we want to do here is we want to make sure, similar to like we were doing with the bicep curl, keeping the elbows in, not squeezing against the body, but keeping it in. And you want to tip a little bit forward. All right, get the core and the abs engaged so that you get a little bit of an extra push through everything. Just adjust this a little bit. So as I'm pushing here, my arms are always coming back into this neutral position. All right, I'm leaning forward, setting my shoulders and pressing. And each time I'm going in. Now notice here that my arms are not straight up and down like this. They're kind of coming in. Going with the flow and the movement of the rope. Since we're using a rope attachment, that's what we're going to do. If we wanted it to be more stiff, you could use like a lat bar pull down or a straight bar pull down and push. This way, it will hit the tricep in pretty much the same way. The bar may be a little bit more simple because you're not getting that extra motion. It's more of a rigid press. But the bar is a great way to go if you want to go really heavy, but we're going for a little finesse here. So we're adding a little press out to the bottom. Not a whole lot of movement. Total tricep isolation move. All right, and that'll wrap us up for this arm workout. You can always do different things with the arm workout. You can do what are called drop sets, where you do X number of reps, lower the weight, do X number of reps. It's a great way to get a pump. We're going for that aesthetic look. And the aesthetic look is going to be all about the size of the arms, especially the triceps. If you're going to go heavy on anything with any of these workouts, go heavier on the triceps. Not only will we get a little extra shoulder recruitment and some chest recruitment, but it makes the arms look bigger. That's where the sleeves get filled out, and it's a lot safer for the other parts of your upper body, especially the arms, rather than going super heavy on the biceps. Work on those triceps. All right, that's our arm day workout. I'll be back with you again in a little while.